parents or family members or even friends, people that are close to you that oppose it.
It's Yuntaku time with Akko and Tamo.
What does Yuntaku mean? It's an Okinawan word from the islands of Okinawa, which means chit-chat. We want to invite you to our kitchen table and include you in our chit-chat to explore new ways of thinking, to welcome different perspectives,
And we want to share ideas on how to love yourself, love your partner, and shower your children with love.
This is episode 42.
And the topic of the day is help! My family doesn't approve. Strategies for making the best decisions when your family doesn't approve. And before we get started, please take a quick moment to subscribe to our show. Now let's get back to our recent happenings.
Yeah, for our recent happenings, we've been continuing to minimize our belongings and donating things to friends, charitable organizations, and things like that. Just to minimize clutter so that we have more space to live.
Yeah.
When I say space, a mental space or emotional space, including through the change in the physical space, trying to clear our minds, make it much easier for our children and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you declutter the outside, it declutters the inside as well.
Yeah, it definitely helps. It's interesting because if your mind is cluttered, your outside is cluttered. And if you're cluttered on the outside, your mind will get cluttered. Wow, circle there, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Never ending cycle, so we have to break it.
Yeah. So the topic of the day today is help. My family doesn't approve. Strategies for making the best decisions when your family doesn't approve. And so this one, it can go on forever if we let it. And we wanted to talk about this because I know that this could be something that many people experience in their lives, right? Maybe it's something that you want to do, the decisions you want to make, and your parents or family members or even friends, people that are close to you that oppose it. And it can be them sharing negative vibes or just straight up disagreeing and saying, no, I don't approve, or you shouldn't do this, or things like that. And it really happens quite often. And even in our group of friends, families, we hear about this type of story all the time. We're going through it, things like that. And it really adds a lot more drama than it should into our lives. And so we want to share our own experience and how we deal with it, and hopefully some of these ideas will help you with your situation, or maybe even when you again experience things like this. One quick side note, Akko shared a fantastic question at the end, so listen to the end for the bonus question. So these decisions or actions can be big and small. It might be big decisions of how you parent, or your choice in your partner, the lifestyle that you have, or maybe what school you go to, or maybe even it's starting a business. Or it can come down to like small day-to-day choice, like the type of clothes you bought or which car you bought, things like that.
Yep.
So there's a gradient from really bigger decisions to smaller decisions. And in our case, I think we should focus more on the bigger decisions. And smaller decisions, if they're bugging you about small decisions, well, they're too much into your life.
Yeah.
And that could be a totally different topic. Some of the examples in our own lives is, for example, for me, when I was deciding to go to college, I had decided, I wanted to become a music major. I wanted to play trumpet. And I got into a school that offered that. And at that time, my mom in particular, she was opposed to that. And in that case, I listened to her. I listened to her and said, okay, I won't go to that college. And instead, I ended up going to a different school. And I listened to her in that case because I myself wasn't too sure. But the funny part is, even to this day, I dream about playing music and things like that. So maybe there was something there, right? I didn't follow my heart. But there's also bigger decisions like getting married to Akko. There was a lot of family friction in the beginning. A lot. And that family friction came from my family's side. In that particular case, it was my work that I had to do for myself. It wasn't Akko's situation, it was my situation. So I had to take the responsibility to really feel what I'm feeling inside my heart. What am I thinking? Blend those two and then make the decision. But really, the decision was already made from the day I met her. I just knew in my heart that she was the one that I need to spend a very long time with.
It's tough. Yeah,
and it was very tough. It was very tough. And made that decision and never looked back at all, right? And there's a lot of decision points in your life that can really change the trajectory of your life. If I were to say, oh, I'm going to listen to my family and not continue my relationship with Akko, we wouldn't be here. My life and her life would have been drastically different. And I just can't even imagine. But we knew that. And that's why I think the decision had been made. I'm going to go through it. I was able to do so with confidence because I was following my heart. Things like this, there's a lot of them. And sometimes it is okay to listen to your family members or friends or someone close to you because they have a great point. Maybe sometimes they see something that you may not see and you may be blind to. We're not trying to say today, hey, just listen to your heart only, but be wise about it and be humble. So Akko, is there anything that you want to share in terms of you wanting to make a decision and your family just didn't approve? Maybe it was your family, parents, friends, or whoever?
Yeah. There are actually a lot just because my parents were very controlling and even controlling till this day. So it's very tough. But one of the bigger decisions was for me moving out. And I feel like that was the best decision I've made in my life. My family is a very sticky family. And so moving out gave me a lot more freedom, gave me a lot more clarity, gave me time for myself. Because when I was living at the house, my mind was very noisy. And what I mean by noisy is it was like a lot of monkey brain, like just thoughts just went into my head. And I really didn't give myself time to really think because I was practically out all the time. Like I was always going to my friend's place. I always busied myself.
And maybe that was a way to escape from that too.
Yeah. And I didn't know what was going on. Obviously, I didn't know what was going on because I didn't give myself that time to even understand what was happening. Me moving out of the house gave me the time that I needed. Don't get me wrong. Even when I even moved out, I was still going to my friend's place. I was like still busying my life. And then I met Tamo and he was just like, why do you always busy yourself? I mean, I was like, what? And asked the question to me for me to just sit down and really gave me the opportunity to be quiet and just really stay with my mind and my body and my heart. And just gave me the time. And now I'm just really happy where I am. If I need to go out, I go out. If I need to be by myself, I stay home. I listen to my heart, I listen to my body, and it's really helped.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to these things, decisions are very important. That's what makes your life, right? The decision for you to wake up at a certain time or to eat a certain food.
Yeah.
Or, do you want to stay healthy? Making the decision, yes, I'm going to be healthy. Or the decision to say, yes, I'm going to be a fantastic parent. Or decision to continue to learn, right? Continue to grow. These are all decision points that you make for yourself. And having that for yourself, the authority and the empowered feeling that you can have for yourself by making these decisions are a really important part in your own personal growth. And so what we want to do is help you by bringing up some questions and mindsets that can help you make these good decisions. So I'm going to share 7 questions with you and also some mindsets to get you thinking about your decision. So if you're in this situation where you want to do a certain thing and people are opposed to you, ask yourself these questions and change your mindset, and then you'll be able to make the best decision. So let's go into the first question. Question number 1, is the person opposed to your decision credible? And there are a lot of situations where people just have a lot of opinions and they don't really know too much of what's going on. They might be close family members that know a lot, but they're not you. They're not inside of you. They don't have the same exact experience as you. And look at that person who's telling you this. Yeah. Do you want to live the life that they're living? I think that's a great way to look at it. Do you really want to be like them, right? Because they're telling you to do certain things or opposed to you because they're coming from their own experience and what they know. So that's the first question. Is the person opposed to your decision credible? And then the next question, number 2, is who is affected by your decision? And so when you're making decisions, you don't want to make selfish decisions. You want to look at the whole picture and see who is affected by your decision. So if you're a single person, less people are going to be affected by your decision. But if you have a family, it's you, your partner, your children, and then it can be your family members that are affected. It can be your friends, your colleagues, and it'll ripple out. So understand that portion too. Who is affected by your decision? Question number 3, what is in your heart? And on the other hand, what are your logical reasons? And so can you blend them? I highly recommend writing it down. So figuring out what is in your heart. What is it that you really want to do? And then your logical reasons, because the mind does tend to jump in and want to get involved. So let your mind be involved. What are the logical reasons? Question number 4 is, why do you want to make this decision? This is a good one because it helps you actually answer the third question, which is what is in your heart? What is your logical reason? So this question can help clarify what your heart is feeling and the mind is thinking. And sometimes just because is a perfectly fine answer. And question number 5 is, look at your past decisions, big and small. How is your decision track record? If you have a questionable decision track record, then you might want to rethink and get a lot more input from people that are close to you. It can also be professionals. If it's a business that you want to start, or you want to start a new career or a type of schooling, maybe you can ask people who are in those professions or careers or studies and figure out if that's something for you. So again, look at your past decisions, big and small, and how's your decision track record? Okay? And then question number 6 is, are you committed to making it work? Of course, there are times where you just have to say, okay, I've tried and I need to let go. But are you really committed from your heart to making this decision work? If it's going to school, are you committed to making it work? If you are a parent, are you fully committed to making it work? If you're deciding if you want to get married to a certain person or not, are you committed to making it work? So ask yourself, are you committed to making it work? Or I should say, am I committed to making it work? And question number 7 is, are you just following cultural norms, or is this something you really want? And many times we don't know that what we're trying to do is just following cultural norms. And it might actually be going against the cultural norm. You really want to know, why is it? And then if this is something you really want. And if you're following the cultural norm of listening to your parents or listening to family members, that you also have to really understand. If your heart is telling you one thing, and yet on the other side, you're just following the cultural norm of, okay, I have to obey my parents or family, things like that, your heart and your mind is going to have a disconnect. And when that happens, you're really not going to be able to express who you really are, live a fulfilling life, and be who you really are. So those are the 7 main questions that you want to ask yourself, and there are many other questions. So if you're in this type of situation and want to have maybe a little bit more questions or things to think about, reach out to us on our website. And also, if you think this episode is helpful for parents or friends, please share it. And if you haven't yet, please take a quick moment to subscribe to our show. So the next one we want to go into is mindset. And mindset number 1 is being nice. Be nice. You don't have to make, if your friends, family, colleagues are opposed to a certain thing, you can still be nice. It doesn't have to be contentious. It doesn't have to be filled with anger. It doesn't have to be filled with resentment. What you want to do is you want to have a calm inner state when dealing with these things. Of course, it's going to be very difficult, and I empathize with you. I totally understand. But being a lot more aware of your inner state, because the thing is, if you are angry or resentful when you make a decision, you might actually make a decision that is not positive for anyone, including yourself who's making the decision, right? Sometimes you may say, oh, I've been held down for so long, I'm going to do this. And it might be a rebellious attitude. And when you go into a decision with that type of attitude or energy, what happens is it might actually backfire on you. And what we want to do is to make these decisions from a very stable and calm state. And so if you feel pressure from your close ones, what you want to do is take some time. Take some time, maybe go to an area that is quiet and away from that type of pressure, and just give the 7 questions a thought. The second mindset you want to have is opposition doesn't necessarily mean the end. Many great things have come from overcoming obstacles. So this may just be an obstacle in front of you. Maybe it's the universe asking you, hey, how much do you want this? How much do you really want this? And many beautiful things have come from overcoming these obstacles, from the opposition that you get from close people. So again, opposition does not mean the end. Many great things have come from overcoming obstacles. That's mindset number 2. Mindset number 3 is it's all perspective. And what I mean by this is everything is a perspective. Your parents telling you one thing, your family telling you one thing, your friends telling you one thing, your colleagues telling you one thing. It's all perspective. and they are not able to see things from your perspective. So keep in mind that they are expressing their opinions from their perspective. And what you want to do is not to overweight their opinions or underweight their opinions, and really floating it to and giving it a little bit of thought and then releasing it so that you can make the decision best for you. Again, it is all perspective, so it's about being humble, having humility towards making this decision, listening to different perspectives, but not being stuck to one perspective. And because in the end, this is going to be your decision. And so with that, we shared 7 questions and 3 mindsets. And if you are going through a tough decision in your life, whether it be now or you see it coming to you soon, we really, again, empathize with you and keep these mindsets in mind. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks for sharing. Those are really important questions. And in life, what it comes down to are the questions that you ask yourself. Like, that's the most important thing you can do in your life. And so these are great questions that you can ask yourself during these really tough times. Mm-hmm. And I can't say enough how much of these tough times that we went through and we experienced. And these questions helped us understand and clarify and the solutions that we came up with.
Yeah, and again, all these are coming from our own experience, from very tough times and overcoming that. And as I mentioned in mindset number 2, it's this opposition doesn't mean the end, but by overcoming obstacles, great things come. Just in our particular case, deciding to get married, even through opposition, because we knew in our hearts that this was the way to go. And when you're in that situation, it's very tough. It's so tough. But know that you have the power within you to make these decisions, because when you are quiet, when you do listen to yourself, you really know what the answer is. And even during our daughter's birth, we had to make some really big, scary decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we had some complications. But we stuck by each other. We discussed it beforehand, what we wanted to do, and stuck with the plan. And we couldn't have asked it for anything more.
Yeah, exactly. So every situation is different. So we feel all of you. We're all in it together. We all want to help each other. Know that you guys are not alone. We're with you guys.
And you have the power. You have the power within you to make the decision best for you.
Exactly. And this is your life. When friends come to us for advice or something, we just say, what do you want? How do you want your life to be? When you look back to your life 20 years later, like, what is it that you would be proud of? Or what is it that you wouldn't regret?
Yeah, I think that's a great one. So let's add question number 8. What do you want? And how will your life look like 20 years later? I think maybe that's it. That's it. Summed it all up while Akko did it in one question. What do you want?
Yeah. So getting back to the question of the day. Do you have any questions or thoughts about family disapproval? We'd love to hear from you. Please come say hi by commenting on our website by going to akkoandtamo.com. That's AKKOANDTAMO.com and clicking on the podcast tab.
All right. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.